David Bassett today has agreed to share with us a page from Kiwanis history. David?
Okay, on November 7th, 1922, at the regular luncheon at the Hotel Palmetto, the members of the Manatee River Kiwanis Club listened to Wilbur E. Mann report on the progress of contributions to the Red Cross from Manatee County and asked for support from the club. President Talent encouraged all members to support the Red Cross by attending the Bradenton City Council meeting that evening. Jeff Bailey from Kiwanis International gave an inspiration talk about the importance of giving and shared the story of the Birmingham Kiwanis Club that raised money to buy gifts to present to disadvantaged children on Christmas Day. On November 21st, 1922, at the regular Tuesday luncheon meeting, members of the Manatee River Kiwanis Club learned about the negative factors affecting the citrus industry from 3 speakers. Interesting how things have not changed. Including Phoebe Waite, Irving Springsteen, and Harry Peterson. Inspired by the program by the Birmingham Kiwanis Club, President Talent appointed a committee to draft a plan for the club to raise money to buy gifts for underprivileged children in the Tri-Cities of Bradenton, Manatee, and Palmetto, and to present those gifts on Christmas Day. The ongoing program would be known as the Christmas Charity. On November 28, 1922, the Manatee River Kiwanis Club held its first Ladies' Night on Tuesday evening at the Bradenton Women's Club building. The program included the re-election of President Talent as the 1923 president and the other officers. There was entertainment by a quartet which included Cliff Earnshaw and William A. Manning. The Charities Committee reported it had several $100s on hand in the Christmas Charity Fund to use to buy presents for underprivileged children. The members also agreed to donate 25 cents at each meeting until Christmas to add to increase the Christmas Charity Fund. The Bradenton Herald reported that there were some additions to this fund when the club decided to fine Elon Rood $2 for not bringing his wife to dinner. Mrs. Rood is out of the state, but that makes no difference when a Kiwanis order is given. Mr. Rood demurred to being guilty, and the members proceeded to jail him. Goaded a bit by little Pat Green, Mr. Rood said he'd come across with $5 if Mr. Green would do likewise, and he was seen and both paid $5. Through this exchange, Everett P. Green Sr. and Elon Rood set the example for the other members of the club to donate to the Christmas Charity Fund for Children. By Christmas Eve, the club had raised a substantial amount of money for the Christmas Charity Fund. Club members wrapped presents and on Christmas Day delivered hundreds of gifts to underprivileged children throughout Manatee County. This benevolent act set the stage on how the club would focus its service in the future, but it was only the beginning. And I think that's where we should stop for today.
Well, thanks, David. Yeah, you're right. It's amazing how things changed and how they stay the same. I appreciate that. Now I'd like to introduce Christy, who will introduce our program.
I'm going to be short and sweet, that we will be having a club board meeting coming up, right? Next Wednesday. So if you're a board member, make sure you mark it on your calendar, next Wednesday. So with no further ado, I am going to introduce Janene Amick. She really doesn't need an introduction. You guys all know who she is. And I'm kind of interested to see what this looks like that she's about to present to us. This is, she did this virtual tour with MCF. And being that we are all kind of in a new environment, this is interesting for me, what the theater and the transition the theater is going through. And I hope she shares some of the changes that they've made. One of them is making the grandparents in my family, I know it's going to make them very happy. So with no further ado, I will share Janene with you.
All right, thank you very, very much. I will do the best to project my voice I want to say thank you to Mr. John Andruzzi. He's our marketing associate here. He came in today because he's working behind the scenes. You may think just because our doors are closed, our box office right now is working from home, that there's nothing going on in the building. And today's backstage tour is going to tell you about some of the things that we're doing to get ready to hit the ground running when we're allowed to reopen. What you may not know is pretty much what we're going to talk about today. We've done many tours behind the stage, but there's some areas we still limit people from going to. One of those areas I'm standing in, our prop closet. So our scenic people, our marketing people who now are doing other jobs, are working very hard to make sure that we inventory, clean, and organize all of the assets that we have. Did you know that we have more than 11,000 square foot of storage? 10,000 of it happens to be a warehouse offsite. 1,000 square foot of it here in the prop closet when you consider all of the shelf space. You may be thinking, why do they need all of that? Well, one of the reasons is I know many of you have seen our shows. Imagine trying to do Joseph in the Technicolor green coats, John, and the dinner pieces are stainless steel. Anybody who knows biblical times, this wasn't created. So in order to make our shows as authentic as possible, we also have wood. We have plastic. Imagine trying to do a show in the 1920s, the good old Gatsby, okay, and the telephone rings at the Gatsby Mansion. Well, I really don't think that you're going to use this particular phone that many of you can recall from the 1980s. Then again, you're not going to use something that necessarily, was the first phone invented. So we, as an organization, have to inventory and keep control of all of these items. One of the main reasons we do so is so that we're financially prudent with all of our spending. People donate things to us. They decide they're redoing a home. They actually go into the attic for the first time. If you yourself are going through some of that spring cleaning, you've decided to venture up into your attic, we would love the pieces that you find, because we try to make the dressing of the stage as authentic as possible. Yes, I use the word dressing because after the scene shop actually builds the platform, paints the walls, and puts up the things that hang above the stage, they dress it to authenticity. Imagine right now, look around your home. You'll see vases. You see candlesticks, okay? You may even see some beautiful silk floral pieces. All of that makes it feel like home. It invites you in. And when we put on a show, that's exactly what we want the audience to feel as though. As soon as they walk in and that curtain goes up, we want to invite you into that home. We want to invite you maybe even into that business office. We want you to know the difference between a pauper's office and a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, because all of that helps with your senses of enjoying the show. So that's what some of our employees are doing now. They are cleaning each piece, reorganizing it, making sure like-kind items are together. We're also right now looking at the pieces as we touch them and pulling them from our inventory and allocating them to a different place so that they're ready for our shows coming up this season. Our goal this year, with the financial upset that we've had with not being able to produce some shows this year and not knowing how our audiences will embrace us when they come back, is we're pretty much going to be on a zero building budget. So we're going to have to adapt and reuse everything that we have. And we want to make sure we have the proper items for the shows that we have scheduled this year, because if not, we'll have to consider changing a title or two. Now we're going to make our way through the audience, what you've all been seated in at one time or another, and we're going to go into the scene shop. Those of you who get motion sickness, You may want to close your eyes during this time. If you've never been in our green room, that actually is. Here in the green room, this is our volunteer actors, our backstage crew. This is where they're changing their mindset and they're getting into character. Above our heads in a mezzanine, there's a second floor back here. Kiwanis Hall is actually on the third floor, but here and then above our heads, backstage access only. So yes, you lost me because you can imagine, you may not know, this building was built to the hurricane standards category 5 for Miami. So even the internal walls, the hallways you walk between are all concrete blocks with reinforced rebar and every fourth cell filled. So I like to say, if you're ever looking for me during a hurricane, it'll be here at the theater. So come on over to our table. We hire designers. And what designers actually do is make miniature models. What you're looking here is a set of Charlie Brown. Even the pieces are removable as they would if we're doing the shows. So small pieces like this, a miniature comes in about 3 months before we start building. They work with our scene shop. You know, right now we only have one paid staff member. Everybody else is volunteers. We've got amazing craftsmen who have been carpenters, who have, you know, come from the construction world, who are retired shop teachers. And so here we build. After a show, we take everything down. We look at it. We evaluate, are we repurposing the wood? Are we taking it over to storage for inventory? It's not just that we use the pieces. As part of our business management model, we rent out costumes, prop pieces, scenic pieces to other theaters, nonprofits doing, you know, great time period fundraisers. You too can rent from us during our costume time. In the month of October, you can get a full costume from top to bottom for just $35. Now, to be respectful of time, you're going to have to wait till the next time to see the costume shop if you haven't already, because I want to show you today Bradenton Kiwanis Theater. You know, you might have seen the name on the wall, but never ventured in. Sorry, hopefully you got to see a glimpse, but right now in Bradenton Kiwanis Theater is a full on set piece of Doubt apparel. And we received word during the pandemic that as soon as we go into phase 2, where we're allowed to gather at least 10 people and the governor allows a business like ours to be open, we will be able to live stream Doubt. And we're going to do it just from the perspective of an audience member. Not all of those fancy cameras. We want to make sure that we're providing intimate theater just as if you were enjoying it. But what really happens in the Bradenton Kiwanis Theater is not just about putting on shows. The reason why we put on shows in the Bradenton Kiwanis Theater that we do is because they all have some type of social importance. The shows in Kiwanis Theater are a part of a program called Action Through Acting. And that's what I really wanted to talk to you guys about. Many of you know Manatee Players. But do you realize Manatee Players is just one program of almost 20 that here at the Manatee Performing Arts Center we present? So Action Through Acting, on an annual basis, we choose 6 social things that are happening in our community. Mental health, homelessness, aging, next year, domestic violence. And what we do is we find a show, a drama that really objectively presents both sides of the issue, how it affects communities, how it affects homes. And it's not just that we present it. We believe here as an organization that just because we're a nonprofit doesn't mean we don't do our part in our community in making it better. reaching out beyond our walls. So when we present action through acting, it's about us finding a nonprofit that's having a huge impact to make our community better. We're getting ready this season to do a show called Collateral Bodies. We're partnering with Selah Freedom. We're partnering with Hope Family Services. We're partnering with the Women's Resource Center. And what we do is every single night, those nonprofits have tables outside of the Kiwanis Theater. They're manned by their volunteers. They're sharing with our audience how, as people of our community, what services are available, how they can have an impact. Maybe they have a passion to volunteer with women. We want to provide our audiences access to things they don't know exist in our community. We want to provide access to nonprofits who are doing wonderful things, a bullhorn to tell their story to people who never knew they existed. That's action through acting. Again, that's 6 shows a year. Another program we do is kids. It's for kids, by kids. For kids, by kids is our camp programs that you normally might see over the summer or on Saturdays. The biggest part of that program is not when the kids actually do their production or act in their production for their parents and their family members. It's actually during the last day of their camps when they are acting for peers. What I mean by that is on the last day of a production run for the kids shows, they're going to run the show that night for their parents at 7. But what we do is we invite all of the kids of the community who are in Boys and Girls Club camps, 59th Street camps, Just for Girls, Pace Center. We even invite the students that are over in St. Stephen's camps to come and see their fellow peer, someone their own age, acting on stage, learning to sing and dance, building confidence in front of a large audience. We provide that at no charge to the kids, in a huge part because of a grant we get from the Manatee Community Foundation, who want to make sure that youth get to be inspired by their fellow youth in stretching themselves, learning lifelong skills, but also maybe inspiring someone else who never thought they had the skill to do so. So we talked about Kids for Kids. We do Literacy Live is another program. Literacy Live is the program where we actually get small skits together. Umbrella, Frozen, Beauty and the Beast. And we'll have actors come in on our main stage in the glorious costumes that we've been able to create, and they'll sing a song and a couple of scenes for audience of 3- and 4-year-olds. Yes, we partner with Early Learning Coalition twice a year to make sure that every 3-year-old and 4-year-old in Manatee County gets to see 2 live performances of theater. Now you can imagine these aren't full shows. Trying to get 3- and 4-year-olds to sit just for the 25 minutes that we put together sometimes can be a struggle. So we always make sure it snows. We always make sure bubbles fall from the sky. As they leave, each child receives a book of one of the scenes that we did on stage, making that character, something special for them, encouraging them to go home and continue to read the story, find out what happens. Because remember, we only did a small portion of it. We have Dramature. You know about Manatee Players. That's our multi-generational resident troupe of volunteer actors who produce a majority of the productions that go on in Stone Hall and in Kiwanis Theater. But hopefully you've had a chance to come and see a production of 2 by Dramature. It's our senior resident theater troupe. They're volunteer actors right here in our community, and actually some of them regionally, who come in once a week on a Wednesday. They learn improv. They learn radio show style acting. Radio show style acting means they get to have their script in front of them. You can imagine as we age and our memory is not as good as it once was, that this is an amazing way to keep them engaged And so, of course, we also want to make sure they do those productions outside into the community. So they serve as ambassadors in trailer home parks, at civic meetings, and provide entertainment. And they also do 2 main shows here. They were just in the process of finishing up their rehearsals for the Juice Joint, which is a murder mystery. So we have it on the books for this up and coming year, but we're moving it from the Performing Arts Center to the Crosley Theater in Sarasota. So another thing that we do in regards to all the other programs, I'm not going to list them all, but a big one is box office management. We provide box office services for the Crosley Theater in Sarasota, right on the line. We provide the box office services for the Bradenton area concert series. Some of them happened at Sutton Park this past year, some of them out on the island. We truly believe that providing that box office service helps other organizations do some wonderful events in their areas, their performing arts centers, in their auditoriums, but they don't have to go to the financial investment of the computers, the software, training the people, especially if they're only doing 2 or 3 events a year. So we provide those services for them. You know, in just a couple of months, we're still moving forward with buying the old GTE building downtown. Yes, we're still moving forward with our conservatory program and providing private lessons and dance classes, improv classes, and an amazing recording studio here in downtown Bradenton. In doing so, you can imagine marketing can sometimes be a nightmare. One of our main programs is Manatee Players. The corporate name is The Manatee Players, Inc. People go to a website to buy tickets for a show out on the island on the Manatee Performing Arts Center website. So I'm here to share with you, you're the first audience to hear this, that as of this past May 1st, we changed our corporate name and are slowly rolling it out. Our new corporate name is Florida Cultural Group. And some of you may be thinking, oh man, she plans on taking the host state of Florida on. No, not yet. But we are in discussions right now and are in the process of finalizing a contract with Hillsborough Board of County Commissioners. You may not know that since 2001, New Tampa, a community in North Hillsborough County, has had plans for a performing arts center. Just recently in the last year, we've come to finalize the agreement and now are working on the contract that starting this up and coming October, we, once they're open, will be training all of their staff here, but we will be managing and operating New Tampa Performing Arts Center. Yes, 3 campuses. And you may be thinking, well, that's a lot to do. Actually, for us, we're looking at it as a cost saving. One, because of Hillsborough's investment, they have promised us they'll underwrite any loss at that particular center. The other is it provides our actors here a springboard and a larger arena. It also provides us the ability to take a show here for 2 weeks and produce it 1 more week somewhere else. Our volunteer actors, they rehearse tirelessly for practically 3 months. And then imagine, can only do 12 shows. This will give us the ability to extend what they're able to do. Also, for those who want to use it as a springboard to get into Broadway or to get into professional cruise ships, this will give them the resume that they need. So we're super excited. The next 6 months, we'll be honest with you. Right now with cash flow, we're good until about the 1st of September. If we can't do a show in August or September, it'll be, let's just say, scary. But we're hoping the community will rally around us and that we will all persevere. So think about donating some of your stuff in your garage and your attics. All you do is make a phone call. Sometimes we'll even come pick out the larger things, pick them up for you. But it would definitely help this season as we're looking for all of those pieces to make every show at the level you've always loved and the excellence of our production. I know that's a lot of information. We're excited about the new name change, Florida Cultural Group. We're excited about some larger partnerships in providing more box office management services for other nonprofits who want to do some different things this year. And know that we'll partner with them. We make a little money and we save them a lot. With that, I'll answer any questions. Matt?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody here. But in the meantime, if you're already unmuted, you want to ask a question, go ahead and do it.
Line 1, please. Say it's line 1.
Okay, we got line 1. Everybody's unmuted if they want to ask Janene anything.
Mac, this is Dick Rose.
Yes, it is.
One of the things that I'm just amazed about is for you, all of you that do not know, probably 40 years ago, I was president of the Manatee Players. So it's been a long time ago. And I actually was in one of the productions of Little Abner. And I did it because I wanted to see what they actually did, not because I'm talented. I just want to say, going from the old theater to the remodel back in the 90s or early 2000s, this is just absolutely amazing. And Janene, you have done a phenomenal job. And we all owe you a debt of gratitude for all the work that you're doing and the enthusiasm you bring to the theater. Thank you very much. And this was just amazing. And I'll get in and start cleaning out.
Yeah,
But thank you very much. Well, it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I don't know that Manatee County realizes what we have right here in our own community.
You'll never realize till you lose it.
So I have a question for Janene. Because you didn't really share why the grandparents in my family are going to be excited
Oh, yes, that's true.
about summer camp.
So we're doing summer camp a little different this year. As long as we can get into where we're allowed 50 people in the building, our summer camps really make a huge impression in these kids' lives. It's not that we believe that these kids are going to be the next, Leonardo DiCaprio, okay? But we do believe they're going to be better attorneys. They're going to be better public speakers. And so this particular summer, what we're going to do is we're limiting our camp, our 2-week camp. We're going to run it 3 times to 40 children so that we can keep our ratios down. And those 40 children will get 2 tickets for their Friday night performance and be able to purchase 2 tickets for their Saturday performance so that we can segregate everybody in the main hall. Simultaneously, though, we're going to provide all of the families and friends, the grandparents who might not even live in this community, the opportunity to live stream it. And so we've already gotten permission from the Royalty House. And so you'll be able to see from the comfort of your home, the children in our community who after 2 weeks persevere to put on a junior version of a show. It's about 1 hour and 15 minutes. And this year it's going to be Aladdin Junior. And so they learn team building. They learn how to sing and dance. They learn how to work together. And this year they're going to learn how to do all of that almost 6 feet apart. And so it's going to stretch our directors, but we're really super excited because we know there's lots of parents who are ready to kick their kids out of the house. Right, Christy?
Absolutely. No, but I will say it's interesting, and hopefully it's an interesting change that sticks, because there are a lot of grandparents who may not get to just fly into town to see a show. So my dad's probably going to get to see Dominic for the first time. He's been doing this for a while, so it's going to be fun.
Well, Mac, if there's no other questions, I just want to say personally, on behalf of our organization and our board of directors, again, we want to thank Kiwanis, the Steve Tinsworth, the Dick Rose, the Dave Bassett's of the world. I could list a whole bunch, the Byron Shins. Back then we had a task force about 10 years ago. Many of you who are from, what will I call old Manatee, remember that for a short period of time, 7 years, the building of this really was slow going. And then everybody put their personal thoughts aside, and we said, how can this impact the community? And really believed in the vision of the Performing Arts Center, not just the resident troupe Manatee. And I want to thank Kiwanis for stepping up and believing in that vision and supporting us to this day through that vision. And hopefully those, forefathers and those of you who are still here and remember those meetings and talking about the vision, some people in the community said, oh, they'll never do all of that. And I hope that you're proud. And I hope each Kiwanis member is proud of the investment that Kiwanis has made in the Performing Arts Center, our new permanent home, and will continue to support us. Be advocates, ambassadors, tell people about some of the stuff you learned today. We're always looking for volunteers to get involved behind the scenes. So with that, I say thank you, thank you, thank you.
I had one more question, and it's on everybody's mind. What are some of the factors that go into determining when we'll be able to meet again at the Players?
So the first one is going to be the CDC. The second one will be if the governor agrees with the CDC's recommendations for our state. The third one will be is if Manatee County itself agrees with all of those. So let's take all the government aside. Then we'll be making sure that we can adhere to all of the recommendations for social distancing. So it's a matter of just being sensitive to, not overcrowding the elevator. Some of it's going to be personal preference. If the club, because the club has their own liability insurance in regards to the theater, but are we wearing masks? Well, we have lunch, so we're eating. We've already opened up the wall, so we can definitely spread the meeting out. And that way, buffet line, making sure that somebody in gloves is serving instead of us self-serving is one big thing that we're going to have to take into consideration. Probably glasses of water already on the table instead of everybody using the same pitcher. Some of the other things that we've seen come down is shortening up meetings so that restroom usage, you can imagine, because you'd have to have an attendant to make sure everybody's wiping stuff down. But I promise you, as soon as we get the green light for 50 mics, then we're ready to hit the ground running and have some protocol. It's just a matter of making sure that everybody feels safe, everybody appreciates everybody else's space. And, we have even our own members, some of them are ready to come back today. They're willing to have lunch tomorrow. And then some are really still being sensitive. And so in that regard, we're ready to open as soon as they say 50 people can meet upstairs. It's just going to have to be sensitive on how we get up there and then how we're served for lunch when we are.
Mike, if I may make a comment.
Sure.
I was on the ad hoc committee that said we need to get the Players finished. And I just want to say, Janene, thanks to your outstanding leadership, the Manatee Performing Arts Center has far exceeded all expectations. And I want to congratulate you on the good work you've done.
Thank you, Mr. Dave.
I got a comment. Janene's show was outstanding, but I'd like to suggest several things. First, if she could redo it with a professional photographer, convert it into 2 1.5-hour segments, show us each the half hour, put it on a DVD and sell it in the gift shop.
And don't forget VHS and Betamax.
Absolutely. and then flash drive. But it was so good, but it was hard to see. And I thought I'd love to see it again.
To your point, we are considering, we've been asked by the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau to actually do our full backstage tour with professional filming, because they want to put it up on their tourist site, because we do provide tours, which is unlike some other theaters. So as people are visiting, the sun gets really hot, it's a rainy day, then what we can do is encourage them to come in and take a backstage tour. So I appreciate the comment, because it's not the first time we've heard it. So I think that little nudge will push us over the edge. And John's here and will work on making sure that that episode is done. One for the first floor and one for the second. Thank you. And let me send a very special shout out to Lemoyne. You know, you see some amazing photography when you see our advertisements. And Lemoyne and Mr. Foltz and another young lady by, her name is Deborah. What they do is actually come in on our Tech Sunday on their own time, free of charge, in 3 different aspects of the theater, and take all of our show shots. And then they work tirelessly for 24 hours and, you know, lighten them, crisp them up and everything. And those are the ones that we send, you know, the week of the show for opening to Suncoast View, ABC 7, all of our newspaper outlets. And so, Mr. Lemoyne, thank you, because for years, people didn't know that you did that. I love it that you get to see the show 2 and 3 times sometimes. But also then you found us other volunteers when you go on vacation to keep it a well-oiled machine. So I do appreciate that.
Well, it's fun. I enjoy watching it with the difference between the very first dress rehearsal on the stage and then we see it the last Friday of the production for real, and to see how much it changes in that 3-week period is pretty neat. We love it. Can't wait till it starts again.
I do want to say thank you to you and to your cameraman. We appreciate him coming in and filming you. You've got the bell.
And I'm not afraid to use it. So thank you. We are, there he goes. Add the better tone.
There we go. Have a great day.
Everybody, see you
Bye-bye.
next
Thank
week.
y'all.
Everyone.
All right.